And now, our feature presentation.
The best in the world is right here, right now.
Whether you like it or don't like it, pal, learn to love it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up.
Now it's our time to step forward. It's time to bring the NWA back into the spotlight.
I was thinking that it might be a good idea if you and I formed an alliance.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Attention, everyone. Welcome to the greatest wrestling program in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Stop what you're doing and listen.
It's the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin, Frazier, DKM, and JCap.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm here with my two pals, my two buddies, my two confidants, Mr. DKM, and of course, the modern day hero, your former World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Kevin Frazier. And we are the Alliance Guys. And every Thursday...
You can call me Kevin Douglas.
What's that now?
Go ahead, Jay. Sorry. Carry on.
And every Thursday night, we are here to talk to you, our hashtag NWA fam, about the National Wrestling Alliance, whether it be the NWA Power or Power Surge, or as we're coming up on 2 pay-per-views historically in St. Louis, Missouri. DKM first. Welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome to the show. DK, how are you doing, pal?
Nothing that a 12-hour nap wouldn't solve.
And Mr. Kevin Frazier, how are you, sir?
Outstanding. Glad to be on here. Glad to be hanging out with my people tonight.
Man, we've got a full house already. We've got James, formerly known as James H. Jackson Jr. in the house. We've got What Would Luthez Do? And we also are joined by Dodie. Dodie's in the house. If you guys are watching, if you feel so inclined, you want to join
Terry.
us. Say that again.
Don't miss Terry.
Oh, Terry McDermott. I missed you, Terry. Sorry about that. If you want to join these ham sandwiches in the conversation, go ahead and just start typing comments. We'll get to you guys. But we are going to talk some NWA. We're going to talk NWA pay-per-views. We're going to talk NWA everything. Willie Bowen's in the house, too. First and foremost, we wrote about this on the website. I'll talk about it briefly here. Nearly 22 years ago, the National Wrestling Alliance tried to put on an all-women's pay-per-view. That never happened. But after 22 years, the National Wrestling Alliance has finally got the right kind of leadership. They're going to be putting on an all-women's pay-per-view this Saturday. And it's featuring some up-and-coming talent, some veteran talent, some names you've never heard of before, and some names we haven't heard from in a very, very long time. And Kevin Frazier, how are you feeling about this women's pay-per-view? What are your thoughts on an all-women's pay-per-view?
I'm actually really excited about the pay-per-view. Again, on the show, I've probably said it numerous times. I'm a big fan of women's wrestling. Have a lot of respect for it. And it just seems like very rarely does an idea that starts out kind of the way this started out, that kind of has a nebulous thing to it where we're like, none of us know what to expect or how it's going to all come together. Do I feel like something comes together? I feel like as well as this has started to come together. So hats off to all the people involved in putting it together, because it really is something that has my interest, that I want to see it. I want to see what happens. I want to see how the women of the NWA stack up against, probably the greatest era of women's wrestling in history right now, and see how they stack up against, their contingents. And I'm pretty pumped about it, and really hats off to the NWA and those who put it together.
DK, what are your thoughts initially on this women's pay-per-view?
I mean, I'm excited as I can be over a women's pay-per-view. I'm not as big of a fan of women's wrestling as Kevin is. But, I want to see what they do. I want to see how it goes.
Well, then let's not stand on ceremony. Let's talk about the card, because, one of the big things that drove business for the NWA in St. Louis was this historic venue, the Chase. It has so much ties to history, has so much ties to the past of the NWA, and they literally sold out the 73rd anniversary without even announcing a card. The women's pay-per-view still has tickets available, still is selling tickets, but clearly is drawing fairly well for them too. But a lot of that didn't happen until they started announcing some of the matches. So the first match I think we should look at is probably the most recent match that they announced, and that is Sky Blue, who was, remember, Thunder Rosa's pick to be the next big thing in the NWA for the women's division. She will be taking on Christy Janes. Christy Janes has wrestled for the National Wrestling, has wrestled for Primetime Live, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, has made appearances in AEW, is currently wrestling in River City Wrestling, where I believe she holds the women's championship there. Kevin, what do you know about Sky Blue? What do you know about Christy Janes?
Honestly, I know a little bit about Sky Blue just because of what I've seen on NWA Power. And I honestly, like when we talked about wrestlers last week, we talked about wrestlers that I felt like have the best look. Her name came up. So I really have a lot of, respect for, that aspect of what she brings to the table. I think her in-ring skills, I think she's got a pretty high ceiling. But I think this is an opportunity for her to show like how much she's progressed in that aspect, because in reality, a look in wrestling is going to take you only so far. And I want to see her take her game to the next level. As far as Christy Janes, I know that her career started off really with really big promise. And I know she had a major injury maybe a couple of years ago that kind of derailed that. And I think she's starting to pick up some steam again. I've been seeing her all over the place in the independents. And again, just another really talented wrestler. And I hope she's someone that isn't just a one-off in the NWA, that we can actually see a little bit more of her. And again, these two both have ties to some of the people that I have ties to, in Texas and with Thunder Rosa and some of the trainers in her dojo. So I'm excited about those two for sure.
DKM, I know you're not looking forward to the women's pay-per-view as much as you are the 73rd, but how do you feel about the additions to Sky Blue and Christy Janes onto the show?
The only thing I know about Sky Blue's what I've seen on NWA Power, so, I mean, her record isn't the best there, and she's portrayed very rookie-ish. So, I mean, she's got a good look. She seems to have some talent. Christy Janes, I've actually seen multiple times. In fact, up until just recently, she was the women's champion in SWE. And I've even... she's been around for a little while, because I've seen her live a couple times, and I haven't been to any pro wrestling shows here in my local area for quite a while. So I think she's a good acquisition and a good person to have on the pay-per-view, and hopefully she'll do some stuff for their tapings.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm hoping is this influx of talent, both for the men and women's. I mean, they're going to be taping the next 2 days, and I hope we get a lot of content. I hope we get a lot of these matches with these talents there. I hope they continue to appear on the show, considering they already flew them out to St. Louis and might as well take advantage of it. And then, of course, we know that the taping for the Fan Fest for the male athletes is supposed to be on Saturday ahead of the women's pay-per-view, and then it's supposed to be the opposite on the next day. It's supposed to be the women appearing at the meet and greet before the men's, the 73rd. I don't want to say men's because there'll be women's matches on there as well. One of the other matches that has recently been announced is Kenzie Page, who we know from Power. I guess we could call her an NWA Power original now. She was on season 5 of it, but she also challenged for the World's Women's Championship at the Charlotte Fan Fest, The Gathering, not too long ago. She's going to be taking on Paola Mayfield, sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly, who is being managed by Taryn Terrell. Now, DKM, we talked a little bit off the air about Paola Mayfield, and neither one of us are really familiar with her, but what can you say about Kenzie Page?
Kenzie Page, I mean, she just looked good in the ring, could probably do a little bit to improve her overall look. Not to sound misogynistic, but, you know, she seems a little soft in some areas. So, if Kevin has any thoughts on that, I'll let him get into them later. I have no idea the person that she's facing. Been enjoying Taryn Terrell's manager and performance on the show, so I mean, it's something to look forward to.
What's the opponent's name? Sorry, I know Kenzie, but what's the other one?
It is Paola Mayfield, and what I know about her is that she was trained by Loki.
Carry on, DK. Sorry, I just wanted to at least have a look at her before.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of looking at her right now myself. You know, and actually, this is part of my problem and probably part of my lack of overall excitement when it comes to the women's show, is I really have no clue who a lot of these people are. And, you know, whereas I'm excited, or, you know, I think it's good Christy James is going to be there, probably more than excited. I can't say that I think, well, you know, it's great for her to be there, and the NWA should really use her well, because I haven't seen the NWA use very many people well. So, I'm trying not to talk bad about Kenzie Page, but she does nothing for me. And I think I'd be satisfied if this match was a squash. Kevin?
So these two are going to be wrestling, right? Kenzie Page and Paola Mayfield, aka Paola Blaze. Is that who I'm looking for here?
Say it one more time.
Well, it looks like maybe in her debut, her name was Paola Blaze.
That could be her.
Yeah, so apparently she's like a reality star from like 90 Day Fiancé, and apparently she's picking up a wrestling career. I mean, just being real, I mean, she has a great look as far as that goes, and you know, again, I know that can be deceiving because, you know, Eva Marie has a great look too, and she's not the most skilled wrestler, and so, you know, and I know Kenzie Page is a little more probably seasoned in the ring, but kind of like DK, I'm not super excited about this match just because I don't know a lot about them. I haven't been that impressed with Kenzie Page. And again, it's not to knock her. I just have a very small sample size. And then from the looks of Paola Mayfield / maybe Blaze, I'll check out the match that I'm about to look at here and kind of get an idea where she's at. But chances are, if both of these wrestlers are green, you know, green wrestler versus green wrestler does not always bode well for TV. And also, if it is green wrestler versus green wrestler, let's hope there's not more than a 6-minute time limit on this match.
Well, you know, and the thing about the show is that if you look at the amount of matches we're getting, like,
wait, Paula Blaze can lock up. First off, I'm impressed. Carry on. She can lock up.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's always important. But the thing about it is, I think one thing that should be considered is this is going to be a very long pay-per-view. I mean, they besides the Invitational, besides the 2 other title matches, and crowning the tag team champions in a 2-team tournament, I mean, right there, that in and of itself is 6 matches. And then you're adding 2 more matches with Christy Janes and Power.
4 teams, right?
Huh?
4 teams, right?
Yeah. What did I say?
I thought you said 2-team tournament, but it's a 4-team tournament.
Yeah, it's a 4-team tournament. Okay, so real quick, you have the National Wrestling Alliance Women's Championship match. You have the Knockouts Championship match. You have the tag team tournament, which includes 4 teams, so 3 matches total, right? That's already 5 matches, and then you have
2 semis and a final.
Say that again.
2 semis and a final.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking Sky Blue, Christy Janes, and Paola Mayfield. So it's going to be like an 8 matches for this pay-per-view. Which, again, timing is going to be everything, and they need to pace the pay-per-view right. I don't think that Paola Mayfield and Kenzie Page are going to have a long match, nor do I think Sky Blue and Christy Janes are going to have a long match. I think at this point they're just kind of giving an opportunity for talent to be there who ordinarily might not have this opportunity. And so, speaking of opportunities, let's talk about the NWA Women's Tag Team, where we have Team Hex, which is Marty Bell and Allison Kay, former Women's World Champion, taking on Renee Michelle and what's her name? Sharma 7. Am I saying that right? Sahara 7, excuse me. Sahara 7. Any thoughts on this match, Kevin? Any thoughts about the first round of the tag team?
Well, I think, again, my favorites for the tag team are going to be Marty Bell and Sierra. That does not mean that, or Allison Kay. That does not mean that I actually think they're going to win it. But I think they're the favorites, given that they have some tenure. Both of them have had success in the NWA, at least relating to every girl we've spoken that we'll probably speak about in this tag division thing. But so I think you're looking at a clear-cut victory for them. Again, I think a lot of this, and after watching a little bit of this reality star thing, I just think the NWA is trying to pull as much interest in as they can by pulling as many names as they can, which is going to get a lot of eyes on their talent and a lot of eyes on their product. And I think that's Renee Michelle. That's just kind of how I look at it. I don't know anything about Sahara 7, but again, we're going to learn a lot about a lot of wrestlers that we probably don't know about over this weekend.
And DK, do you have anything you want to add to that?
This is hard because I don't really know. I don't see clear-cut winners of the titles. I mean, there's no team that I'm sitting there going, yep, that's who they're going to put the titles on. So, in this particular match, I would think you'd put over Allison Kay and Marty Bell. Nothing against the other 2 girls, except for, like so many of the girls on the show, I don't know who they are. And, I mean, me not knowing who they are it's all it does is keep me from being able to get interested or excited. They may put on a hell of a match. I don't know. They may be great talents. I don't know. They may suck. I don't know. And, that's just where I'm at. It's like, I don't really see Allison Kay and Marty Bell winning the title, but I would certainly think they would win this match. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Okay. We haven't really put out
what are
any
your
predictions
thoughts?
yet.
I mean,
Say that again. I'm sorry, I spoke over you.
I said, what are your thoughts, Jay? I mean, who do you think will win? Who do you think should win?
Well, okay. So, starting off with this match, Team Hex versus Renee Michelle and Sahara 7. Again, I think that Team Hex is the obvious choice. That's not to take anything away from Sahara 7 or Renee Michelle, but just if I'm booking a pay-per-view for NWA fans, I want the NWA fans to enjoy it, and I want to put over the talent that the NWA fans remember and have fond memories with. Marty Bell and Allison Kay provided a couple of good matches for the first couple of seasons for NWA Power. I mean, we were talking about Allison Kay before Thunder Rosa's rise of popularity. We were talking about Allison Kay not having one world championship reign, but 2, 3, 4. We thought she was going to be a force in the women's division, and she was gone faster than you could blink your eyes. So for her to come back, I think is going to have a lot of happy feelings for some NWA fans, and the opportunity for her to win the tag team titles, I think, is going to sit very well with a lot of NWA fans. So I think that's the way that they're going to play that one. And then going to the next round of the tag team, we have the Free Babes versus Red Velvet and Killian King. And I'll go ahead and talk first about this one. We know that, I'll be honest, Killian King doesn't really register with me. I don't really know who she is, but I know Red Velvet's been heavily featured on AEW programming. And I know she's had a couple of really good matches on AEW. But again, there's some sort of je ne sais quoi when you talk about second-generation wrestlers. There's this kind of sense when the producer of the show is labeling you and giving you a name, already kind of creating a gimmick for you. And so the Free Babes, I think it's very interesting the fact that Mickie James has taken such an interest in them. Now we're talking about Hollywood J. Haley, or Hollywood Haley J, I think. I'm sorry. She's the OVW Women's Champion. She's held the title now 2 times. So I think that speaks volumes about her abilities in the ring. And although Ohio Valley isn't the same Ohio Valley it was a decade ago or even 20 years ago, it's still a pretty prominent promotion in the grand scheme of independent wrestling. And then, the daughter of Bam Bam Gordy, Miranda, I mean, again, she's got the lineage, she's got the DNA in her body. I'm not really sure what
DNA.
What's that?
DNA.
What did I say?
TNA.
No, I did not, sir. I did not, sir.
Go back and play.
Miranda Gordy is currently the SWE Women's TV Champion, I believe.
Yes. And
so she's got a championship pedigree as well. And then the third one is Jimmy Wang Yang's daughter, Jazzy Wang Yang. And that's not easy to say 3 times fast. So there's a little bit of that second generation vibe here. And again, not to take anything away from Red Velvet and Killian King, but the Free Babes could easily become part of this NWA roster and nobody would bat an eye. Whereas Red Velvet is more than likely going to be back in an AEW ring sooner than later. And she'll probably take Killian King with her. So I would go for the Free Babes on this one. Kevin, what are your thoughts on this match?
I want to know how you spell the Killian what?
K-I-L-Y-N-N. Killian.
Killian King. Okay. Let's see. Well, I mean, her and Red Velvet, right?
Say that again.
It's Red Velvet? That's her partner's name?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard. I'd be hard pressed to see them not winning the match just because they just look like the favorites. But kind of like what you guys what you were saying, Jay, that it seems like they've already given somewhat of a team name and a little bit of something to the Free Babes, and it seems like they have a little bit of swagger about them too.
Yeah.
So what you might be looking at is you might be, a substance versus style type match here, meaning that, the AEW girls might have the style and might have the look over these two, but the freebase might have the substance factor going. Again, charisma goes a long way with me. Jay, you and I both are huge fans of Willie Mack, and Willie Mack's he's not the prototypical wrestler, but the dude's charisma is just absolutely undeniable. Probably the most lovable guy I've ever known in wrestling. And again, if the freebase had the charisma and the swagger, which based on what I know of Gordy and based on what I've kind of seen with the Hollywood girl, sorry, I'm learning all these, but I'll do my best. But the reality is I don't want to know a whole lot about them anyways. I want to let them decide for me what I want to let them make me decide during the pay-per-view. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of thought into this. Actually, I'll put a lot more thought into my review. But I'm eager. I'm excited, and I think you're going to get a clash of styles in this match. You're going to get something. You're probably going to get a little bit of a throwback with the Free Babes, and you're probably going to get kind of the AEW flair with the other team. So I think it'll be great. I think the AEW team goes in as the favorites, but kind of like what you were alluding to, Jay, I see the underdog probably going through on this one.
And DK.
I think it's DK's turn. I know he's got more to say than both of us because this is what he's looking forward to.
This is really the only thing that has me excited, and that's primarily because I really like Miranda Gordy, who's only been wrestling a year. She's still kind of green, but she can be pretty brutal in there. And,
go figure. She's a Gordy, go figure.
Yeah, I mean, she's probably wrestles closer to her dad than Ray Gordy did. And so I'm actually going to disagree with Kevin. I don't look at the AEW team as the one that would be a favorite or whatever. They're kind of a thrown together team. I'm not sure about Kelly Bob, whatever her name is. But yeah, I just saw Red Velvet last night watching AEW, and I didn't realize how small she was. She's actually a pretty small wrestler, and I'm imagining the Free Babes are going to use the Freebird rule, where you never know which two you're going to be facing.
So there's more than two?
There's three of them.
There's three.
So who is the third one?
Did you not listen to Jay?
No, not at all.
Well, nobody does. That's par for the course. But
Kevin, what are you, my wife? That was funny.
Jazzy, Wing, Wang, Whoa, something. Yang, Do, I don't remember.
Jazzy Yang Wang, the daughter of Jimmy Wang Yang. Come on, guys, get it together.
Jazzy.
And if I remembered who Jimmy was, I would probably mean more to me. But anyway, so we might not even see. I think they'll win this match, and I think they'll be in the finals against Allison Kay and Marty. And, we may not see the same two wrestle in the first round that we see wrestle in the finals. So I think it's going to be I think this has the chance for the most excitement just, in a particular match.
Okay.
So if they set those two teams up in the final, I think they're setting up the right teams in the final, and I think they're setting up the right type of bang for the buck, so to speak.
Okay.
So
what would Lou says he hates the Freebird Ryle 3 rule.
I just so you guys know, so I have actually had a friendship, nothing more than that, with Miranda Gordy, her sister, and her mom. We all became.
Kevin, you froze.
No, Kevin, no.
Well, we wait for Kevin to
ceremonies.
Kevin, you froze.
And the interesting thing is that they were the nicest
No, it was you.
Oh, I did? Well, you froze. Somebody froze. So, okay, well, fair enough. It might have been my internet just cutting out on random. But
Tell us the story.
I was gonna say, like, I've actually been friends with Miranda Gordy, her sister, and her mom, on an acquaintance level. I spent some time with them a couple of years in a row at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, which I used to be kind of an ambassador for. So they would come out every year during the ceremony and what was called the Red Bastille Shootout. And I mean, just like I said, like, they were the nicest people. You'd have thought I was part of their family. And so again, I think there was a lot of humility, but at the same time, I think there was a certain swagger just about them in general, just the whole family, not just Miranda. And so I think with her being a wrestler now, I think with Hollywood, the Hollywood chick being able to cut promos really well, and I think based on what I've seen of Jazzy Wang, or Yang, or Wang Yang, or Jazzy Yang, she looks very charismatic too. So I think there might be something to this team, and you might see the Free Babes wrestle with two wrestlers in the first match, and bring a fresh wrestler in for the second match to give them a bit of an advantage. That'd be kind of cool. Be a nice little twist. And like DK said, I think this is going to be one of the more interesting parts of the show.
Yeah, and that's what we're all kind of looking at too. Just real quick, I saw in the comments, so I did want to repeat what was said, because we have to acknowledge our fans and our viewers and our friends. And as I put over DKM and now it's over me, the illustrious television title Raglan t-shirt is now available on the merch shop. James H. Jackson got his today. Terry McDermott messaged me offline earlier and said he got his today, and they both said that it's even better in person than it is in the picture. James said, everybody who hasn't, I recommend you get that new shirt styled after the television title. I got mine, and man, is this shirt sweet. Mine arrived yesterday. So that is such a glowing compliment. Thank you so much, James, for picking that up. Thank you, Terry McDermott, for picking that up. If you guys want to get it, I'll drop the link here in the chat. But I just wanted to point that out because, if someone's going to say that our shirt is cool, I'm certainly going to point that out. Some more that we want to talk about is Willie Bowen says that any women wrestlers from Mission Pro Wrestling is Wrestling in Power event. And what I think he means are Mission Pro wrestlers at this event. And you can kind of say yes, because Genocide, Sky Blue are both pretty much Mission Pro wrestlers. So I would say yes, they are. Heebs was not too happy about the Fan Fest that they're doing. He says that they should have doubled down on the Sunday Fan Fest and not the Saturday one. 6 hours in between the feast and the fest and the pay-per-view, especially when most of the hotels don't let you check in until the afternoon. That kind of sucks. I wish they could have coordinated that better for the fans. Willie Bowen says that he wished that Lacey Von Erich was wrestling at the upcoming Empower event. And I can speak for everyone here when I say I'm a big Lacey Von Erich fan. He says that he believes that the Kenzie Page match and the Sky Blue matches are going to be pre-show stuff. And that's something to consider too. They will be doing, I'm assuming they'll do a pre-show. They kind of set that precedent up last time. Willie Bowen says that he loves Allison Kay and Genocide.
Think they'll actually make it to the pre-show?
Well, it didn't air before the show, but it still aired, Devin. And then Willie Bowen says that he loves Allison Kay and Genocide. Doty says that his picks for the tag team champions are either the Hex or the Free Babes. And then Dave Scooby says whoever wins the women's tag team titles will need at least 2 to 3 tag teams to challenge to make the belts mean something. Just hope with all the belts in the NWA that they don't get lost in the shuffle. Whew, that's something to be concerned about for sure. Heebs said that Red Velvet bumps like crazy, but she did botch a senton last night and it looked bad from the nosebleeds. He was there at AEW last night. And then Terry McDermott said that he also met Miranda, and she was a very nice person, and that he loves SWE Fury. So that gets you caught up on the comments, but let's get back to this women's pay-per-view, this Empower pay-per-view. And the next matchup that we should talk about is probably the Knockouts Championship, that I could only assume that is going to lead us up to the Women's Invitational would be this battle, this shot at the Knockouts title. And we're talking about Deonna Purrazzo, who recently won the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. So now she's a bit of a belt collector herself, holding the Knockouts Championship and the Reina de Reinas Championship. And she's going to be defending against Melina. Kevin, what are your thoughts on this one?
This one's making me have a little cringiness. Melina is so hit and miss. When she's good, she's really good. When she's not, she's really not. So I'm a little cringy on this one. Probably a match they again threw together maybe for just the name value. I'm not as big a fan of Purrazzo as most.
Wow.
I think I've thought she kind of was overrated.
Wow.
A little bit overrated from the get-go. And so at this particular point, I don't like I said, I probably am less excited about this match, mainly because I know what I'm getting. And if we get a good Melina, the match will be good. If we don't, it could be one of those matches where we're kind of, and I know you know what I'm talking about, guys. And I know you know that this could be a match like that. So
yeah, I mean,
what would be good though? What would be good is that Purrazzo just goes out there and kind of beats Melina up. That might actually be fun to watch.
DK, your thoughts?
I'm basically in agreement with Kevin. Don't tell anybody, especially him. In that it's really going to depend on Melina. If Melina shows up in shape and ready, she can carry Purrazzo to a pretty good match. I'm also not the biggest Purrazzo fan.
Wow.
I don't dislike her, but I don't get the hype.
Okay.
And that might be more it than anything. I mean, I'll say she's a good wrestler, but I'm not. I think she may have some. I think she may have more hype than talent.
We had, real quick, I just have to point it out, we had 2 bathroom comments back to back. Terry McDermott says this match could be good for a restroom break. And Luthez says Melina on screen sends me to the bathroom. I don't know if that's good or bad, but...
Luthez, we don't want to know your personal habits.
Well, hey, Jason Newsom just joined us. James says that don't believe the hype. And I'm sitting over here kind of scratching my head because everything I've seen of Deonna Purrazzo, I've appreciated. I thought she's pretty good in the ring. Really, the only drawback for me with Deonna Purrazzo is on the mic. She always sounds nervous to me. And now maybe that's just the way she speaks, but she always sounds very nervous and her voice sounds very hollow. But when she was introduced to Melina on last week's Impact, I did catch that on like a replay of it, and she looked very confident in the ring next to Melina. And I will say this: Melina looked more like the old Melina that we were used to. And I can't say that she's going to be 100% healthy, but I agree with both of you guys. If Melina brings it, this match could be great. If Melina is not 100%, this match could be really rough. So we'll see how it goes. I'm one of these guys that think that Melina could still pull out a good match when she needs to. You have to remember the last season of Power, she was injured after the pay-per-view and was wrestling hurt. And I know that's not something we always want to happen, is for our talent to wrestle hurt, but sometimes it's a necessity to continue the storyline or whatever. I mean, Kevin could speak to that more than anybody. So Melina went out there and she wasn't 100%, but if, she's been sitting at home hopefully getting ready for this pay-per-view for the last 2 or 3 months, she might be in an entirely different shape and ready to go, and I'm kind of hoping she is.
Well, my concern with Melina, and I understand being hurt and, maybe not able to perform. My concern was, I'm going to call them season 1, season 2 post-COVID, because I forget what seasons we're on.
I think we're technically on season 5. This was season 5, this last one.
All right. Well, then in between season 4 and season 5, a lot of the guys who weren't in the best of shape, kind of, when they came back, you could see they were in better shape. Melina was one of the people that's like, in between, she got in worse shape. And that's what kind of has me concerned. It's been a long time since she's stepped in the ring in a high-profile match with, a lot of actual wrestling. When she first came to the NWA and she was, managing Thunder Rosa, and there were supposed to be a couple of matches, she never actually wrestled them. And so it wasn't until later, I think, she put on a pretty good match. But like I said, when she's on, she's on. She's good.
I mean, that's fair.
I just worry which one's going to show up.
I mean, that's a fair criticism. And she has to wear it because it's the truth. She's looked good in some matches and she's looked bad in others. That's going to take us to... Oh, well, my last 2 cents on that one. I think it's going to be a good match. I'm really pulling for Melina to come out there and show everyone what she's capable of. A couple months ago when they were talking, or not months ago, a couple weeks ago, when they were putting together this match and they were going to invite Deonna Purrazzo, unanimously, we all agreed that she was the best choice on this roster because you didn't want to do a title-for-title match. You don't have access to Serena Deeb. You don't have access to Thunder Rosa, which they just did that at the last Impact pay-per-view. Kylie Ray, you really don't want to put her in an Impact title match just because of the history. So, I mean, I think Melina has that bigger name value and is more of a draw than, say, Genocide or Lady Frost, even though both of those females are wildly talented and two of the best female wrestlers out there. I think Melina has that name value that makes it interesting, that hopefully will draw some Impact fans into fight and ordering this pay-per-view, the Empower pay-per-view. But that'll take us to the next big match, and that's the Women's Invitational Battle Royal Cup. I'm still not entirely sure how this thing is going to play out. I don't know if this is a Battle Royal, a Royal Rumble, a Gauntlet match. I'm not really sure. But we do know the participants in the Battle Royal. We know that Tootie Lynn Ramsey was the first one named at the press conference in St. Louis. Shortly after that, they announced Jamie Senegal with her manager, Poyo Demar. And then they've also added to that Lady Frost, Genocide, Masha Slamovich, Chelsea Green, Bianca Corelli, who's the daughter of... what's his name?
Santino.
Yeah, thank you, Santino Marella. And then also, most recently, Debbie Malenko. And then the last 2 names announced were Thunder Kitty and Kiera Hogan. So it's a very diverse group. There's women in there who are nationally known. Kiera Hogan, they're calling her the hottest free agent in women's pro wrestling right now. Although I think that's genuinely Tessa Blanchard, not Kiera Hogan. And then you've got Chelsea Green, who's been, making her way in Impact, Ring of Honor. Then you've got a lot of talented women from the independents, like Masha Slamovich, Thunder Kitty, Jamie Senegal. You've got up-and-comers like Bianca Corelli and Tootie Lynn Ramsey. And then you've got NWA talents like Lady Frost, Thunder Kitty, and the wily veteran in there, Debbie Malenko. DCam, what are your thoughts about this pay-per-view, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'd know more if I knew what type of match it was.
Doty.
Hopefully it won't.
Doty in the chat said that it's going to be a Royal Rumble with pinfalls.
Yeah, that sounds stupid. Given that type of thing, I mean, it's too hard to call because you don't know how people are going to come in or go out or anything like that. So it's a little bit. I guess if I was going to pick a winner, I'd pick Lady Frost just simply because she's already in the NWA, and why not give her the title match the next night? You know, I don't. I'd rather see an NWA talent get the rub, so to speak. I suppose if you wanted to do name value for the next night, you'd do Chelsea Green. Hogan just, I think, wrestled on AEW where she was more or less slaughtered. And so, yeah, I mean, if you want to give an NWA person the rub, put it on Frost, and if you want to, or give it to Frost, and if you want to do name value for the next night pay-per-view, which, you know, it's sold out and probably everybody's going to buy will have already bought by then, you know, do Chelsea Green. But I guess if you want the media coverage.
So then DK, your prediction, who wins it? If you were booking, who wins it?
Okay, my prediction or who would win it if I were booking? Those are two different things.
Okay, your prediction.
My prediction will be Lady Frost. And that's just pulling something basically out of the air who I think is a suitable winner. If I were booking, I'd do it on Chelsea Green so that if she would do the job the next night. If she wouldn't do the job the next night, then I would pick Lady Frost.
All right, same question goes to you, Kev. What do you think of this match? What do you think of the stipulations? And who's your pick to win it?
I like the match. I think the point of the pinfall is so that once it gets down kind of to the last competitors, it can be more than just throwing somebody over the top. I don't have a problem with that. Just because if you do a good pinfalls are more exciting most of the time than people getting chunked out over the rope. Not that you can't make it exciting, so throwing people out. But I think that the stipulations don't really bug me too much. I've seen so much worse in wrestling, so it's not that big of a deal. I like how much star caliber there is in this Battle Royal. I think it's probably the thing I'm the most looking forward to. And I like Battle Royals and Royal Rumble type stuff. I like that. I like the unpredictableness. Of course, I also love the good old one-on-one mano-a-mano matches as well. I certainly would much rather watch a Battle Royal than a three-way. But or a 4 or a 6-pack challenge or any of that. Whatever. No, I don't. I like that. I like it. I like the name value. And you know, I actually agree that I think if you can get Chelsea Green to do the job to Neil, to meet DK, what's going on behind you? I just saw something like jump behind you or something.
One of the dogs came and got on the bed.
Nice. I knew I saw an animal. But anyway, I think if you can get Chelsea Green to do the job, I mean, to me, she's got to be the one, because she, to me, is the best woman wrestler probably on the whole show. Period. How WWE decided to let her go, I still don't quite understand it. Because when she wrestled Charlotte Flair, I think it was on Raw or SmackDown, I was like, at that point, I was like, wow, she looks like she really belongs at this level.
Double injuries. That's what did her in.
Well, it's a shame because, again, I thought on television she really translated well to TV. So I think she's your best bet in terms of it. Oh, Oh, there's a dog out here. Look at that.
I don't know how much you can see.
I can see. That's awesome. Sorry, I'm a dog. Mark. But so anyway, I like Chelsea Green. You know, I know you guys are going to be like, maybe kind of cock your head, but I kind of don't want an NWA girl to make it so that she doesn't have to lose to Camille. Because we all kind of know Camille's going to be the winner. At least like to think that. And I want to see them actually build somebody in the NWA to go against Camille, not somebody like Lady Frost, who I feel like needs a little more build. I wouldn't mind to see Lady Frost like make it to the Final Four or to the final, but I would like to see somebody outside of the NWA do the job, and then that way maybe they can build somebody up over the next TV series to kind of to be the next rival to Camille, preferably Genocide or Lady Frost.
So I mean that's.
Ooh! You want my Final Four?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think I got my Final Four. I think I'm gonna say Genocide, Lady Frost, Chelsea Green, and then I think it's Senegal. What's her name? Senegal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are my, either that or the Hogan. So
I mean that's a pretty formidable foursome. I agree that you know, I think if I'm booking it because I'm trying to get more buys for the next pay-per-view, I think Chelsea Green is the name I'm gonna put over, right? But I think from a wrestling historian, if I can call myself that, or a wrestling enthusiast, I really like the idea of Debbie Malenko going over in this, just because of her historic, her relevance in Joshi Pro Wrestling, and remember what she did in All Japan Wrestling kind of translated to what we're seeing now in women's wrestling. And had it not been for a pioneer like her, again, trained by the legendary Gotch, you know, in Japan they call Gotch God. So, I mean, that's kind of saying something about his significance in pro wrestling. And the fact that she was trained by, you know, Boris Malenko, Joe Malenko, and Dean Malenko. She has the credibility, and I know that she's been out of wrestling for a long time, but I really think bringing her back into the fold, I think Debbie could really shock some people. And maybe she doesn't win the title, but I think it would mean something pretty meaningful if you know, if the world champion could beat somebody of the credibility that Debbie Malenko has.
You know, I think all three of us have shown our cards as to who our kind of favorites for these shows are. Debbie Malenko for Jay, Miranda Gordy for DK, and I'll probably say Chelsea Green for myself. So I think we all have our people that we're pulling for. You know, good job NWA, because you got 3 NWA guys interested in at least one wrestler on the show. So, and again, I think we're all interested in Camille and seeing her title reign be really successful.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm answering in the chat room. You got Certified Hustler saying that Tessie Blanchard has been spotted in St. Louis, and I don't know if I believe that or not, and I'm asking him for a link for that. I want to see if that's been confirmed by anybody.
So Abe's Haberliner maybe called us or maybe a hater to check out Perazo versus Jordan Gray 30-minute Iron Woman match. I'll check it out for sure, just because Jordan Grace and I did a few mixed tags back in the day, and actually was there around when she broke into the business. And guys, seriously, when we tagged against Carson and Barbie one night, and she beat Barbie up. Like I was on the apron, like, come on, like she was throwing these out. She threw some elbows on her, man. She was just going at it.
DK, there's a lot of noise coming on your end. Is there anything you can do to help that?
I'll have to throw the dogs out.
Sorry.
But, you know, I hadn't ever really seen Jordan up to that point. And it was really funny just to, you know, just imagine your tag partner, like, marking out on the apron for your stuff in the ring. And it's funny because me and Carson were just laughing about it because we're both looking at each other like, dang, like they're putting the bar pretty high for us, not in terms of running spots, but just in the physicality of the match. So I think early on I knew that Jordan was going to be good. Who knew she would excel to this point? To say that I'm surprised would be a lie. I would just say that I saw where she started, and you know, she worked really hard to get where she's at. So much props to her. And you know, that doesn't really help the case for Purrazzo because she's in there with a great worker. So if she can carry Melina to a great match, maybe I change my mind. But you're not going to change my mind with the Jordan Grace match because it's Jordan Grace.
I actually did see that match.
Uh-oh.
And
I stand by my assessment of Purrazzo.
Hey.
Oh, well, you know, hey, we all have our own.
And I mean, you know, as Kevin said, I mean, the match was overall good, but I give most of the credit to Grace as opposed to Purrazzo. So.
Oh, man.
Hey,
all right.
You can't please everybody.
Right. You can't. And nor should you try.
My favorite quote by comedian Jay Moore is, "You can't please all the people all the time. Hell, you can't even please some of the people some of the time. What you have to do is find the people that dig you and knock it out of the park for them." And that's literally what this podcast is all about. It's just trying to find the people that dig what we have to talk about, and let me and these two yahoos over here, Kevin and DK, just talk wrestling with you guys so we can have some fun. The next card up is the 73rd. And this
Do we not have a Camille match?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. We did skip the Camille match. I apologize. I think it's a foregone conclusion, but let's go ahead. Kevin, you've got the little person taking on the Women's World Champion. Who's your pick?
Well, I think after how Thunder Rosa woman handled Camille.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, and Thunder Rosa's not a big girl. I would say she might be a little bigger than legit Layla, but I've seen a little bit of legit Layla, and I mean, she's legit. So I believe that Camille will walk out of there as champion, but I bet you money Layla goes out there and, as Rodney would say, puts the wood on her. And rightfully so. You know, it's wrestling. Camille talks a big game, you know, and she's carrying a big title. And the truth is that's part of it. You're going to have to go out there, and sometimes you're going to have to take a whooping, dish that thing out. And then what I want to see from Camille is, because I believe that Layla's going out there with something to prove.
Of course.
And you don't have to win a match in wrestling to win a match in wrestling. You can go out there kind of like Thunder Rosa did, and you know, beat somebody down and make your point. And I think the circumstances are a little different than the Thunder Rosa match. And I think it's time for Camille to show that she's as bad as she says she is. That her physique and her athletic prowess, she needs to beat this girl up. And if this girl goes out there and beats her up, I think the NWA might need to reconsider whether it's Camille's time or not. Because it'll be twice now that she's let a smaller wrestler kind of throw her around.
DK, what do you think?
My thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it has to do with optics. If you want to present Camille as a major league badass, they haven't necessarily booked her in the best way so far. Of course, Rosa's just a veteran. She was able to, you know, kind of woman handle her, so to speak. But, you know, she also had the match against Genocide, who was green, and Genocide kicked out of one spear and everything like that. And so you put her in a match with, and I don't care how legit you are. Again, this is optics. This is wrestling. If it was an MMA fight, I'd say, okay, Layla Hirsch could probably win. Probably. I don't know that for sure. But when you're putting your world champion in the ring with something like, there's a reason that Mayweather never fought whoever the heavyweight champions was.
Vladimir Klitschko?
Yeah, I don't remember who the champions were at the time. He was his hottest. But, he started out at junior lightweight or something like that, and worked his way up into the welterweight, maybe junior middleweight title areas. And it's like, but he was never, no one ever said, oh man, can't wait to see him face, Klitschko or Wilder or, whoever. Because we all knew what would happen if you got in the ring with a guy that was 200 plus pounds. A skilled fighter. It's one thing to get in the ring with internet sensation who doesn't have any matches or very few, real matches, and you can't even knock him out. So imagine getting in the ring with somebody who is highly skilled and, legit 70 pounds heavier than you. And so, and that's what I'm talking about. This is the biggest problem with wrestling. Today is that they don't look at the optics. When the 180 pound guy is easily beating the 280 pound guy. And so if you want Camille to be your legitimate top wrestling champion, it should be a case where Hirsch can look good from time to time, but most of the time better be Camille.
My thoughts are this. If I was booking this match, this would be a squash. Camille would come out and murder her. And AEW fans might be like, well, that's awful. What are you talking about? We don't send our best talent over here to get crushed. And I understand, no, you don't. But this is an NWA pay-per-view, and this is Camille's coming out, show. Yeah, she's been on pay-per-views before, but this is her first pay-per-view defending that championship. And for her to have all the glory of going to AEW and then putting that spotlight on her, she needs to make a statement with this match. The NWA needs to make a statement with this match. And if you're going to put her on the same card with Chelsea Green and Kiera Hogan and Deonna Purrazzo, even though you guys don't like her, and Melina, she needs to stand out as the biggest star of them all. So there's no way in hell I would put her in a match that she doesn't look dominant in. And if legit Layla gets some shots in, that's fine. But this match should be nothing more than a glorified squash match as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's the best way to book it.
Well, I would say I agree that that's how you should book it. But I also would say that if I'm legit Layla and I'm on national television and you're bringing me in before I ever agree, this is something that needs to be covered beforehand. And I'm not gonna, if I feel like I'm better than that person and I'm wrestling for a world title in a marquee match, you're not squashing me. I don't care how big they are. And again, sure, if you're a green wrestler and just getting started in the business, sure. But I wrestled Tim Storm on multiple occasions, and I barely come up to Tim Storm's sternum. And Tim Storm, and you can ask him, he wasn't squashing me. I think we all know the foregone conclusion, but I'm gonna go out there and he's gonna remember me that night.
By the way, Kevin, just throwing it out there, when I did talk to Tim Storm earlier this week, he put you over, man. He had nothing but nice things to say about you.
And I feel the same.
Oh man,
the stuff that the good things that have happened to Tim Storm in his career, to me, couldn't have happened to a better guy. If you were to say who are the nicest guy, name your top 5 nicest guys in wrestling ever, Tim would be that. And he was the most chill, most safe road trip guy you could ever get in the car with, because he was just, let's just go wrestle and none the rest of it. But no, all in all, whether it's Tim Storm or whoever, anybody like that, I'm gonna go out fighting. And so I'm all for Camille expressing, like, showing her power in this match. But if I'm legit Layla, I'm going down in a blaze of glory. I'm not going out there and getting Goldberg. And you're not. And then again, I've seen stranger things happen with the NWA. So who knows how this match is going to go? But that would be my kind of 2 cents. And I might be the Steve Regal against Goldberg guy to say, you're not going out. I'm going to lose to you, but everybody's going to know. Or Daniel Bryan against John Cena early on his career.
I remember that one. I've
seen that match. But it's like, at some point as a wrestler, you have to decide to take your own destiny in your own hands. And I think that Camille needs to really not have to be handed a squash match. She needs to go out there and beat this girl up. You shouldn't have to have the company baby you at this stage of your career and tell somebody they need to go get squashed. No, you need to be told X amount of time. You got 8 minutes, and we like to see Camille dominate in this match. But you don't need to be giving them a whole lot of restrictions, because if Camille's really not a dominant force, then she doesn't need to be booked as that. That's just, like I said, happened with Thunder Rosa. It should be on Camille this time for it not to happen with legit Layla.
Well, there's a balance too. The problem is if you bring her in and you squash her, is that then she doesn't look like a legitimate challenger at all, even though she won another match. I can't remember who she beat. Nobody. Bunny, I think. Which is sad because Bunny was the champion in Impact, but, in AEW, she's just not much, ballet manager style. So, first of all, it's like, oh, great, AEW going to have 2 wrestlers challenging, facing off against each other to challenge to the champion. And as I pointed out, these aren't 2 wrestlers that you would be putting in a ring to face each other to face their champion. And so I wouldn't book it as an absolute squash. I would book it as probably a 60-40, 70-30 dominance match. Hirsch can get her blows in. Hirsch can have her moments. Those can be covered, and things like that. But ultimately, Camille needs to look like she's the champion. And like Kevin said, she needs to look like she's the champion based on her own in-ring action and what she can call. I honestly don't know how well laid out NWA matches are. So I don't know if the wrestlers are calling them or not. Kevin, you might have some insight into that, but
I don't. I actually don't, because I've seen so many wrestlers that I know personally that are very good at setting boundaries with bookers do things that just make me scratch my head. The first person that comes to mind is Jax Dane. Jax Dane is really one of the best things. One of the things I admired and learned so much from him when we used to do shows is he was very strategic on the way he was booked, and he had a lot of say so in those things. And again, hey, like, I'm not trying to be critical. It's a head scratcher to see, at this point, to see the way that some of these guys get booked on the show, and they got to be green lighting because they're going out there and doing it. So who knows? I have no idea.
And I'll say this real quick before we move on. I mean, there has been some changes in the backstage leadership. I mean, we know that there's some producers there that we all respect very much. Homicide, Jazz, Pat Kenny. I mean, things could have. Things are obviously in flux for the NWA. Oh, DKM just got a call.
Well,
I'm gonna mute you guys just for a second. Okay, go ahead. Let's see if this works.
the show just got a lot
Yeah. All right, so sorry guys if the screen looks a little funny. We're kind of winging it here. We get the show set up a certain way, and our buddy DKM had to jump off. Hopefully he'll be back before the end of the show, but we'll move on, because that's what we do here. I think what it is DKM said too much about the NWA, and Billy Corgan is giving him a call right now.
Yep, I think Corgan dialed him up.
Corgan's had enough of his
time for
ass.
a shoot interview over the phone.
A couple months ago we had Danny Limelight call in and like, hey man, how do I get on the show? I was like, brother, I can't do anything. I can't get you on. I think I put the camera to the phone, my phone to the camera, and tried to play it off. But anyways, let's start.
Do we know how to pick guests around here though? Danny Limelight is just shot out of a cannon since the last time we spoke to him. He's been hot as anybody out there.
I'm not saying that we directly had anything to do with that, but I'm saying we had some indirect effect on that.
Well, I mean, what happened to Ricky Starks after he was on the show?
Ricky Starks it went to AEW and is now carrying that FTW title, my friend.
Is Barrett Brown now on New Japan Wrestling?
New Japan Strong, and he's
a staple.
I hope to see him in Riverside when they come out here in November.
So wrestlers out there, you're trying to get signed. This is the show to come on to right beforehand, because the next day, somebody's calling you.
Can we also point out real quick that that our boy Hammerstone is still just tearing it up in MLW? He is still the West Coast Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion. I mean, this guy is all that and a bag of chips, and he looks like $1 billion. And I don't know. I'm not saying we had anything to do with that, but I'm saying we had something to do with it.
Maybe a lot, but no. I would also I would say too. Is Hammerstone? That might be a good poll question. The best unsigned to AEW, WWE, NJPW. Is he the best unsigned guy to a major wrestling label out there right now? I say yes. I don't think anybody has a better Twitter than Hammerstone, but also too, like, for a big guy, he really can get it done. And has charisma like crazy. But anyways, this show's not about Hammerstone, but
you know what? We're asking. I put that survey up to the group. You guys feel free to answer that question. Let's get to this pay-per-view.
Let's move on. Yeah, let's go to 73.
Because this show it's an enigma wrapped in a fortune cookie, hidden behind a mystery. There's so many things that I like about it, and so many things that kind of make me scratch my head. We talked about it during the Champion Series. We talked about it even before When Our Shadows Fall. The Battle Royal is not the best way to make anyone a number one contender. I think you and I both agree that it's a little bit lazy booking by the front office when they did it for the world title. I think they did it again. Oh, I think we got DKM back.
Oh, what? Hey, was that Billy Corgan?
I wish.
Is Billy Corgan mad at you for smashing on all his product?
He said smash pumpkins, not the NWA. But anyway, no, it was a family member, and I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't something.
Oh no, that's fine. That's good. You gotta take care of those family members. But
just keep up bothering me.
But what we need to talk about is this battle royal, and as we said earlier, the NWA has kind of relied on a battle royal quite frequently to set up number one contenders, and I don't like it personally. I think it's lazy booking. However, if there's any title in the NWA that just needs an overhaul and a completely fresh start, to me that is definitely the NWA National Championship. We've talked about it at length on this podcast and the pre-party. Chris Adonis, I don't find him to be a bad athlete. I don't think he's a bad wrestler, but they have not done him any justice in the way that they've booked him. And the fact of the matter is, that national championship, it means almost nothing right now. So for them to have this battle royal, hopefully we're going to get a good challenger that comes out of it. And I believe the names that have been mentioned are Slice Boogie, Jay the God, Luke Hawks, Marche Rocket, Nick Stanley, I don't know who Nick Stanley is, Jeremiah Plunkett, Mims, Rush Freeman, and I'm not sure who Rush Freeman is, El Rudo, Sal Renaro with Danny Deals, and more is the big extra part to that is and more. Any name out there in that battle royal stick out to you? Any name that you hope walks away with this battle royal victory?
Yes.
Go. Who you got? Who DK? Come on.
JTG.
Same.
In fact, he's the only one.
Right.
If he doesn't win, then I could care less about the winner.
I could agree with that. He was the first person that stood out to me on that list too.
Now, here's another problem that I would have with this though is if JTG wins, then are we not getting the rematch of the finals if Adonis holds that title? Are we just getting that prolonged feud? And again, which means that the finals were kind of pointless too, right?
Well, no, the finals are fine because, here's the thing, he shouldn't have to be winning a battle royal to be getting matches and for there to be a storyline developed. I mean, they did the thing with Fred Rosser throwing in the towel, which, might as well have because, the guy had lost anyway. So it just saved him from tapping or going out. But, there was something there they could have developed. They didn't develop. I don't understand their booking minds at all. I mean, he should have been a top contender. There should be setups to get them back in. I don't know. Unless James Storm is coming back to be the champion for a while, I have no interest in him wrestling for the title. Just to have a match. And so, put him in. He's the only guy that should win. And it's weird. I'm with Kevin. I hate these battle royals and multiple people matches to determine who should challenge, because obviously a tournament is somewhat different, because with a tournament you have to win matches. But anyone can fluke into victories in these types in battle royals and stuff. And so, and it's almost one of those things, well, if you're going to have a battle royal or a whatever, like a Royal Rumble or a gauntlet or whatever, you might as well do the Kofi Kingston thing and, develop a star out of it, or put on, make them learn someone who you wouldn't necessarily expect. Gosh. Yeah. I don't know. Kevin, your thoughts?
I mean, I definitely like JTG as the top guy, but the guy that I'm just going, why is he not in this? And again, I know we have strictly business and all that, but Tom Latimer is your national champion in this company. I'm just saying it. I mean, I'm fine with this guy not being your world champion right now, but this guy is your national champion. I mean, so the fact that he's not even on the radar, you know what I think that would be a great angle actually to come out of what I'm saying is that maybe Tom Latimer and Camille do separate themselves, and that Tom Latimer could say, look, you know, Strictly Business is actually holding me back. It's cost me title opportunities. You know, I've constantly been taking a back seat, and I think if he went out on his own, it would take all the excuses away for him to be really holding championship gold. And again, maybe him and Nick are friends, and that's fine. But, you know, in wrestling, we punch our friends in the mouth all the time. And, you know, I just think that this is one more of my standing on a soapbox or whatever about, you know, Tom Latimer being the best guy in the company. And really and truly, not one person that we've named, including the champion, are better than Tom Latimer. So what gives here? I'm going to call it, I'm going to term it, he's getting Eli Drake.
Ooh.
He's getting Eli Drake. And okay. I don't know why the NWA insists on doing stuff like this. But
I thought that was Pope.
JTG. I think he's getting Pope and Eli Drake, but Pope at least, you know, had a point where he had a focal point on him, even as a TV champ. But I'll go with the guys that's out there. I like JTG the best, just because he looks like a national champion, and I think right now at this stage of his career, he's better than Chris Adonis. So he's the best choice of what we got. But Tom Latimer should be the guy walking away with that title. Should be holding it.
Latimer is not a choice, so you're disqualified. It was between the people that were the Battle Royal, and JTG is a great choice. My only concern about that is, like, we've seen that match, so something else would have to change. But we'll get more into those matches later, because the next match we should look at would be probably the matchup featuring Mickie James and Kylie Rae. Now, Kylie Rae is a name that we heard about in the women's pay-per-view. Her face was on the poster, but I don't think she has a match. So Kylie Rae versus Mickie James, I think, is this kind of a generations match. And the way that I look at this one is it's going to be very telling, because if Mickie James wins this match, it shows you that she's going to remain an active competitor in the National Wrestling Alliance. And if Kylie Rae is the one that wins, it shows you how important she is to the brand going forward. At least in my opinion. Now, Kevin, what do you think? Kylie Rae versus Mickie James, what do you think about that matchup, and what do you think the repercussions will mean for it?
I really think that Kylie Rae should be the one to come out of this with the spotlight on her. Mickie James is, probably, even right now, in the NWA, probably in the top 2% of actual workers on every level. Like, I haven't seen her in the ring, so I can't speak to her look right now, but I can say that in-ring ability and in-ring wise, she's a great worker. And I think that Kylie Rae, to her own, is a great worker. So I think the bar for this match is pretty high, and it should be set high. And you know, if you're the guys on the show, you're gonna have to step your game up, because this match might be a match that actually upstages a lot of the men's matches, which we're not surprised anymore by this.
DK, your 2 cents?
I think Kylie Rae needs to win. I think we need to move forward. I mean, Mickie James isn't old. I don't want to say that, but I do think that she needs to be more in a thing of helping to develop some of the new talent that's out there, as opposed to being, the top person. And I've kind of liked her more in the behind-the-scenes role even if she's kind of been the face of it or whatever. I think she's a good person to have as your, the face of your women's division as far as like producing, being out there, getting the word out.
Well, I mean, I will say this, like, there's speculation, I think it was Mike Johnson that said it. It might have been Fightful, I'm not sure, but apparently Mickie James is the one that smoothed over the relationship between Impact Wrestling and William Patrick Corgan, and for that to have happened is a bit shocking considering how much animosity that there was that Impact Wrestling and Billy Corgan had. Even outside of the lawsuit that was filed against Dixie Carter, I'm talking about roster additions that Impact made at the expense of the NWA, and other little things that happened over the course of the last few years, and Mickie James was able to smooth that over. That must mean she's some sort of master negotiator, or she just has the right friends in the right places, because I mean, the tension between the NWA and Billy Corgan, he had said repeatedly, I'm never going to work with that company again. I'll never work with that company again. And here they are working together. So that speaks volumes about Mickie James behind the scenes for sure.
What's next?
So the next match, I do want to point out we did miss a match from the women's pay-per-view. Dodie corrected me. Kylie Ray does have a match. It's a triple threat match featuring AAA versus AEW versus the NWA. We have Chick Tormenta representing AAA, Diamante representing AEW, and Kylie Ray. That match is happening at Empower, and I think just real quick, I think Kylie Ray wins that one. That should be a really good bout.
Yep, 2 for 2 for Kylie Ray, hopefully this weekend.
Well, she needs to win that one, because then that gives her match with Mickie James more meaning.
Right, and that might actually thrust her right into the title scene with Camille.
And then also one match that's on the card in this, it could potentially be one of the pre-show matches, a dark match, whatever. Colby Corino is supposed to be taking on PJ Hawk.
Sorry, I was trying to hold down my buffalo chicken sandwich from earlier.
What about PJ Hawk, though? I mean, let's focus on the positives. That kid has got so much talent.
Right, if he goes out there and ties the guy up, and Luke Hawk, if you're listening, please get in your kid's ear and tell him to just go out there and just blast that dude. Please. And that's all I got.
Luke is actually in Alaska right now. I don't think he's watching.
Guys, I'm going to tell you right now.
He can watch this in Alaska.
I'm going to tell you guys right now. In a legit one-on-one match, Colby Corino is going to get his lunch handed to him, and his lunch money taken by PJ. And I really, really, not because this is not because I like Luke and him and I are friends, but PJ is a serious talent. Like, a serious talent. I've seen some of his stuff from the indies before, and then I've seen him do really, I feel like in the ring since he's been in NWA. I just think he's a serious talent. And I can't wait to watch his career unfold. I really can't. I just have a lot of admiration for him and a lot of respect, and I love the way he's been brought in as a wrestler. And so I hope the NWA does the right thing here and doesn't give Jabroni Carino a match because of his daddy's name.
Here's my bold prediction for the future of the NWA. At some point, there will be a title match between Luke and PJ. It'll probably be the TV title, and just because I know that Billy really does enjoy animosity and detriment between his wrestlers. So at some point, as a tag team, they'll fall apart. One of them will win a title, and the other one will challenge for it.
Love it.
All right, so that brings us to Well,
DK didn't talk about this match.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Everybody just wanted to hear me trash on Colby Carino.
I mean, that's basically it. That was basically it. Go ahead, DK. You trash on Colby. It's your turn.
I'm not going to trash on Colby. I'm going to, well, maybe a little bit. You know, I'm really going to kind of do another thing Kevin did, which is really talk of PJ Hawk. I mean, you see we've seen his skills in the ring. That, you know, the guy's an actual wrestler. He has an actual wrestling background. You know, he knows how to do the things. He knows how to make them look good in a professional wrestling ring. And so, you know, I don't know how tall he is. Probably needs to develop a little more weight or size or something like that. But I think he's somebody who can certainly do a lot in the sport. So, you know, I would like to see him get a decent low mid card push, you know, and develop him. So, Colby, you know, his daddy has a name. And we all know what I say about, you know, people's dads and what they should have done. So,
oh my God, don't say it again.
Spend the 50 cents.
It costs more than 50 cents.
I'm lost.
I think Colby's daddy should have used a condom.
Oh, he should have. For God's sakes. Oh, God.
Okay, this is taking a turn for a place that I'm not comfortable with. Certified Hustler, I just put a link
what it's all about.
Certified Hustler, I just put a link to Kevin Douglas taking on Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. Watch that at your leisure, but by no stretch of the imagination does Kevin need to go to Austin Idol for wrestling school. You're talking about a guy who's a former NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion and ate the collective lunches of many talents across the country. This guy knows what he's talking about, and we don't normally put Kevin over super a lot on this show because his history speaks for himself, but there are a lot of new fans who are unfamiliar with the NWA. Kevin Frazier will go down as one of the best junior heavyweight champions of this time-space continuum. He had a great feud with Chase Owens. He defended that title in Los Angeles, in Virginia, in New Jersey. He literally was on TV all at once, all at the same time, on the East Coast, West Coast, and the Southeast. I can't say anything better about Kevin Frazier than what I'm saying right now, but there's a reason why we begged him to come on this show, because he is legitimacy, and he is certainly a certified G, if you will. So, enough of that. Let's get to the next match.
I thought he begged us.
Go ahead, DK.
No, I was going to say, I thought you begged us to be on the show. So.
Well, you know, and DK can take credit for being one of the guys to discover yours truly, because he was a big advocate early on that brought a lot of attention to me. So I was really grateful for that. And one of the things that was brought in was that I should join Austin Idol School. The real reality is Austin Idol should be calling me and saying, Kevin, Daddy, brother, put the boots back on. Come join Team Idol, and I'll make you a star.
Again.
That's what Austin Idol should be doing. He's not, but I won't say that one day that he won't be calling pound for pound the best wrestler in definitely my era. But if I decided to step in the ring today, would be pound for pound the best wrestler, and I would make CM Punk eat his words on who's the best in the world. So there's your quick little promo. That's just for you, Hustler.
All right, so let's move right along. One of the matches that I'm very excited about, I think Kevin will be too, is this Brawl in the Lou. And now my guest earlier this week, Tim Storm, we talked at length about this match. You've got Crimson, who's tough as nails, who I mean, let's be honest, is more known as a tag team wrestler in the NWA, had a great match against the mysterious Masked Man early in the championship series. That match went to a no contest. He steps in the ring with Tom Latimer, who we can collectively say is the most underutilized talent on the roster. The guy is a walking Tasmanian devil. He does everything well. There's hardly any flaws in his game. And in that match, they both will be opposing the Perfect Storm, Tim Storm, former World's Heavyweight Champion, a former two-time North American Champion, and an all-around good guy. And this brawl in the Lou, this isn't going to be a scientific wrestling match. There's nobody in here who's going to be best in the world. These guys are going to be fighting. That's what Tim Storm does well, and we know sure in hell that Tom Latimer knows how to fight. So I'm going to ask DKM his thoughts on this match before we get to Kevin. DK, what did you think about the brawl for the Lou, and who do you have going over?
Well, first of all, if I may correct you, he was actually the NWA North American champion 3 times.
Oh.
I know it says 2 in like Wikipedia and stuff like that. He actually traded it back and forth with Brian Wilcott.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I thought you were going to say Sean Tempers.
Ooh, that's a name from the past.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that being neither there nor here, the match itself, I mean, I'm expecting it to be more of a showcase for Latimer.
Oh, wow.
I want it to be a showcase for Latimer.
Okay.
And I kind of expect, I mean, I'm not saying that he'll just dominate, destroy everybody or anything like that, but I think it'll give him a chance to show off what his skills are and everything. Kevin?
So it's Tim Storm, Tom Latimer, who?
Crimson.
Crimson. It's a 3-way. And it's a anything goes, brawl for whatever.
It's a brawl in the Lou.
Street fight style. Guys, this is going to be the match of the night.
100%.
Honestly, and again, like I think with Tim Storm where he's at right now, you have to book him in the right scenarios with the right guys, and these are the right guys, and this is the right scenario. Crimson, like I said, one of the best looks they've got in the NWA. Definitely not a slack in the ring either. So again, one of the best all-around guys they've got. I mean, I'd like to see just him and Tom Latimer go at it, but honestly, this is going to be 3 big dudes that hit really hard, that are going to pull no punches. And, if I'm booking this match, I'm like, hey, guys, 15 minutes. See ya. I ain't even calling a finish. They'll figure it out. I just want to let them just go. Go do your thing. You got 3 really good minds. You have 3 really good workers, and again, you have 3 guys that can fight, straight up fight. So I'm pumped about that. That's probably going to be the match of the night for me. They'd have to really just totally blow it to not be the match of the night, because nothing else talent-wise stacks up to this one.
Kevin, the modern day Eddie Graham.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
I think, again...
You know who Eddie Graham was.
I do, but I didn't know much about him.
Well, anyway, as a promoter, he was notorious for telling guys on the undercard, just go out there and shoot for 10 minutes. Because, a lot of his undercard guys, were never going to get real far, but they did have some legitimate backgrounds. So his thing was he didn't care who won. He just wanted them to go out and make it look real. Because if people saw that and said, oh, that looks really real, then the main events and all that, well, they must be real too.
Get it. I think this match is going to be the show stealer. I think a lot of people are going to stop and be like, wow, I didn't know, one, that Tim Storm could still go like that. Two, I didn't know Crimson had that in him. And three, holy damn, that Tom Latimer is a beast. And it's something we've been saying for weeks and months, even maybe a year or so. But 100%, I think this is Tom Latimer's opportunity. Personally, I'm pulling for Tim Storm just because I want to see Tim Storm get a win at the Lou. But Kevin's pulling for Tom. DK, did you have a pick?
I mean, sentimentally, I'd like to see Tim Storm win, but I mean, the reality is, I think it's going to be Latimer.
And we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. I hope someone's writing these all down because I'm not. Next up, let's talk about. I'm kind of trying to space these out because I don't really know how the NWA plans on booking these matches. But we have the 6-man tag. We have the tag team titles and the national title, and the world's heavyweight title and the women's title. So we have quite a few matches still here. Let's go ahead and talk about the national championship with James Storm, James MF and Storm, and Chris Adonis. And first of all, I'll be the first one to admit that I hate the way that the NWA has utilized the national title. I feel that belt has never had less value than it does right now. I mean, you went from Willie Mack to Colt Cabana to James Storm to Colt Cabana to Aaron Stevens. And even Trevor Murdoch winning that title seemed very momentous when it happened. But that fourth season of Power just absolutely flushed any credibility or any integrity the championship had directly down the toilet. They didn't do anything to elevate the belt. If anything, they diminished it. And so with that being said, Kevin, James Storm, Chris Adonis, who you got, brother?
James, I can't see. I don't think James Storm is coming back to NWA TV. So, I think Chris Adonis is going to go away with it. But, again, this is not against anybody personally. Like, I don't not like Chris Adonis. I did many shows with him because he did a lot of Texas tours. And I, in other random places, California or whatnot. But it's not a knock on him, and I don't know James Storm either. And I mean, James Storm on the mic, I hope he cuts a promo because I really like James Storm on the mic. But all in all, like, this match to me, it's a foregone conclusion. The only thing exciting that could happen is that James Storm win the title and actually come back to NWA TV. That would be the best outcome. But raise your hand if you think that's going to happen. Nobody's hand raises. Oh, okay. Then that's what I'm hoping for.
I don't think James Storm wins the belt, but I think James Storm will be back with the NWA. He was not under contract when he appeared with Impact, and I think now that the NWA is kind of starting to get its bearings under its feet, that the show, they're trying to produce a better talent, and I'm not trying to take away from anybody on the roster, but James Storm is a guy who, he's held the World Championship for Impact. He's held the NWA Tag Team titles probably more times than Ricky and Robert, He's a guy who's got a lot of NWA DNA all over him, so having him on that show I don't think hurts him at all, and if anything, lends more credibility to the NWA. Like I said, I don't necessarily believe he's going to win the title, but I think putting him on the roster is a win-win for all party involved. DK, what are your thoughts on this match?
I think it's obvious Adonis is going to go over. I don't know that Storm's going to be back with the NWA because Storm has pretty much made it clear he doesn't necessarily want to attach himself anywhere. So he seems to be in the wind down of his career. I don't know if he's doing other stuff or what. So I think he's good for appearances here and there. I don't think he'll ever be and I'm not saying he won't stick around for TV tapings. He may or he may not. But I don't see him being a regular player, so to speak.
Okay, so let's jump to the next match just because I don't want to spend too much time on that. We also have the 6-man tag action, which features the NWA TV champion Tyrus with the aforementioned Austin Idol and Jordan Clearwater teaming with, they're calling him Scion in some circles, Syon, formerly known as the Masked Mystery Man. I hate the name, don't care for it at all, but at least it's better than the Masked Mystery Man. And they're taking on the trio of The End, which is Odinson and Paro, and the former television champion in the Pope. I mean, did the Pope finally get his full Hossman? What do you guys think about this match, DK?
Between the two pay-per-views, there is no match I care about less than this one. And I'm a huge Pope fan. Look, I don't know what the deal with the masked wrestler is, or what his name is, or who he is. And he hasn't impressed me much. And if they do a complete gimmick change on him, I guess it'll be a plus. I thought when he was brought in by William Patrick Corgan and everything, I thought his purpose was supposed to, be to back up William Patrick Corgan in whatever he wanted. Now he seems to be teaming with Tyrus. I don't know why. There's no explanation behind it. There's no story behind it. He just is. So, typical NWA booking. I don't look for it to be the best match on the card. Probably won't be the worst, but I don't look for it to be the best.
No.
Hopefully Pope pins Tyrus and, we move on.
And Big Kev Dog, any thoughts?
So wait. So this is going to be a tag match between Pope and the Mask Guy.
No.
Against The End?
No. It's Pope with The End against the Masked Guy, and then the Idol Sports Management team of Tyrus and Jordan Clearwater.
The six man thing.
Yep.
I'm gonna be. This could be an all right match. I mean, you've got some good elements in it. I mean, Jordan Clearwater is a good element. Pope is a good element. Tyrus used the right way is pretty good. The Mask Guy is like watching paint dry. The End is good. So I mean, outside of the Mask Guy, I mean, you've got a lot of good elements in the match. And so, these matches can surprise you if they're done right, and you got the right thought put behind it, and the match has some actual continuity, and they tell a one-night story with it. You got a lot of beef in there in terms of Tyrus and Pope and having issues with each other, and and Austin Idol has heat with everybody, and so it's kind of like, I don't know, you could make something of this match. It could be really good, or it could be cringy. So who knows? Hopefully they put something good together.
Our buddy James said it would be a good match for Power, but not so much a pay-per-view, and I kind of agree with that. I don't think I'm not really looking forward to this match, much like DKM said. I love the Pope, and this is the match I wanted to see. This is what I wanted to see at the 73rd. That's the match that should have happened. Unfortunately, that's not what we're getting. And I believe the good guys are going to get a victory here, but that's because you want to keep the belt on Tyrus, and you want him to be even more hateable. And who knows what's going to happen with the Masked Man? Who knows what's going to happen with Jordan Clearwater? I'm sure there will be some repercussions for everybody involved. That brings us to the tag team title match, and that puts Aaron Stevens and J.R. Kratos defending the belts against La Rebellion. Now, this match hasn't had a lot of steam in it because the Championship Series really kind of diverted storylines that the NWA were working on prior to the Champion Series. But there was a setup where more than once La Rebellion came out and attacked Kratos and Stevens and kind of disrupted things, just matches in general. So this tag team match is going to be, again, the La Rebellion representing AAA versus the NWA in the tag titles. DK, who do you got? Or Kevin, who do you got in this one?
La Rebellion, please. I love Aaron Stevens. I don't love the current rendition as much as I did when he was third degree national champion. Third degree, whatever it was. That was so fun.
Third degree national champion.
Much fun it was. Yeah, I didn't realize how much fun it was until it was gone. But I like him. It's nothing against him. They've done a nice little job with this team. I'm just not a big Kratos fan, and I would like to see Aaron Stevens get out of this tag team so maybe he could get back to growing his character, or hopefully moving the direction of, moving back in the direction of where he really excels, especially as a singles wrestler. And I really like La Rebellion, and I think it would be great to see them take the titles and possibly have a feud with the End. That would be a really enjoyable thing for me. And to probably DK's sentiment, get a real tag team with the tag titles, and have a legitimate tag title run, and bring a little bit more credibility to the titles, because they're a great team, and obviously I like both those guys.
DK, what are your thoughts? Who walks away as tag team champions?
Well, knowing the NWA, probably Stevens and Kratos. But if there is a wrestling god or gods or whatever,
Karl Gotch,
then let's hope that La Rebellion wins. Just to give you an idea, Aaron Stevens and Kratos have been tag team champions since November 10th. So by the time the match takes place, they'll be the longest reigning tag team champions under Billy Corgan. And the previous longest reigning tag team champions were Eli Drake and James Storm, who held it through most of the pandemic. So that's just so sad to me that that's the case. But look, they've botched the booking on Stevens and Kratos. I don't care if they like each other. I don't care if they're getting along. I don't care if one turns on each other. It wouldn't mean anything to me. I have no amount of emotional attachment to the tag team, either as friends of the tag team or bitter enemies. Put the titles on a real tag team. Stop your crap when it comes to tag team wrestling. And, please. That's all I have to say.
We all want La Rebellion to win the tag titles. I think in my own warped sense of humor and my own weird booking, if and when Tyrus leaves the NWA, I would love for nothing more than JR Kratos to be managed by Austin Idol. I think that's the perfect pairing, and we can elaborate on that more later, but I want to get through this because we are already up against 2 hours now, which is a lot longer than we intend to go on this show. So then the next match that we need to talk about would be the winner of the Burke, or whoever holds the Burke come Sunday morning. Whoever wins between Legit Layla and Camille will defend the Burke against whoever wins the Women's Invitational Royal Rumble Battle Royal thingamabob. So what are your guys' thoughts on this one? I mean, if we're assuming it's going to be Chelsea Green, and then we're assuming that Camille wins, does Chelsea Green get an upset here, or does Camille still walk away as champion?
I would say that I would say we're all in speculation here, but I think whoever it is, Camille walks away champ.
DK?
Sorry, DK.
No, I was just going to say, I think we know Camille's going to walk away with champ. if it's Chelsea Green needs to put Camille over clean. That's my only thing. So, and she might. I'm not saying that she wouldn't. But, you know, like I said, it could just as easily be Lady Frost or, you know, with my luck, or, you know, maybe it'll be the local girl there, you know, what's her name? Tootie
Lynn Ramsey.
Tootie Lynn Ramsey. I like her dragon name better.
Same.
And people don't get names anymore in wrestling, do they? Anyway, yeah, Camille's gonna win both nights. I don't see the title changing hands. The title shouldn't change hands. So that's what I'm going with.
So it sounds like, so far, just to recap, we don't think, or we think La Rebellion's going to win the tag team titles collectively. Am I right?
We hope.
We hope. Okay, that's our hope. We believe that James Storm will not win the national title. Is that correct?
Works for me, yes.
Okay. I hope he does, though.
Well, hope and want are two different, or hope and what's going to happen are two different things. What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, I don't think James Storm wins. I just hope he does.
Okay. So we've got national champion staying the same. We have the tag championship changing. We have the women's championship remaining with Camille. And that brings us to the main event. A match that's been like 3 pay-per-views in the making. An opportunity for Trevor Murdoch to essentially put his career on the line. I don't know why you do that. They already had the Champion Series to earn this title shot. Don't know why he had to throw his career on top of it. Taking on Nick Aldis for the 10 pounds of gold. The national treasure. The real world's champion. The man who's carried that 10 pounds of gold for over 1,000 days. And my question to you guys is, who do you think leaves St. Louis, Missouri? Who do you think leaves the Chase Sunday night holding the 10 pounds of gold? Is it going to be the blue-collared Trevor Murdoch? Or is it going to be the fancy pants world's heavyweight champion Nick Aldis? Let's go with you first, DK. Who do you think walks away as world's heavyweight champion?
Well, it kind of set it up with Murdoch better. So, years and years and years and years and years and years ago, WCW brought in a Lunderblazed Medusa while she still had the WWE championship. Her contract ran out. She was still champion. She shows up on WCW, throws the title in a trash can. And then they declared tournament for the women's championship, which we all figure, you know, Medusa will probably win. She's held the title in the AWA. She held the title in WWF at the time. And so we're all expecting her to, you know, win the title. Well, of course, she loses in the finals to, I don't remember who, Japanese lady.
Bull Nakano?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Top lady. I don't want to take anything away from her. And so then they set up this challenge where Medusa puts her career on the line, you know, for another title shot against the Bull, and then she loses that too and cries on screen because she has to retire now, and they never have another title defense in WCW. Bull goes back to Japan. They also have a WCW Women's Cruiserweight Championship, which never leaves Japan. And within a year, the titles they created were completely discontinued. My point to that is, I can see the NWA doing something as ridiculous as that. We'll sort of Aldis will Aldis will win, and Murdoch will disappear for a few months. Medusa would eventually. I think she started. She was back as a manager, and then eventually got back in the ring. She actually held the cruiserweight title at one point. So she did hold titles in all 3 companies. And, I don't know. I don't have faith one way or the other.
Are we talking about the main event, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in Spaceland right now. Talking about Medusa.
Well, my point to that story was that
WCW, Japan.
All right.
I love you, DK.
Got it, Fraser. But my point to all that was, just because they put the stipulation in there doesn't mean that I believe that they have to put the title on Murdoch, and I can see them doing something where they don't. So, hopefully Murdoch wins the title, just because I'm tired of all this. Murdoch win, Aldis get injured, go away for 6 months. I can't miss you if you don't go away. So that's the scenario I want. I have no faith it'll happen.
Kevin Frazier, former World Junior Heavyweight Champion. You know something about being a champion. Do you know if Trevor Murdoch is ready to hold that title, that prestigious belt?
I'm 100% sure Ric Flair has something to do with the outcome of this match, and I think whatever side he chooses, he's going to get a great reaction either way. If he sides with Aldis, we're going to get the happy boos. If he sides with Murdoch, we get the good guy finally wins. I think without Ric Flair, if Murdoch wins, no one cares. I think without Ric Flair, if Aldis wins, no one cares. So I think regardless, Ric Flair is going to have something to do with this. They're probably going to go with the hometown boy wins. Ric Flair probably helps him win and raises his hand, and we have a big, cheesy, happy moment. I don't see it would almost not surprise me to see Murdoch lose the belt off TV, something of that nature, and all this end up back with the belt again. But just to have this big moment on a big show, I think that's probably what the NWA is going to do, and you can't blame them for it. They're at the chase. There's a lot of nostalgia here, and this is the time to have a good moment, and I think it's also going to help actually Aldis because it'll kind of break a little of the staleness off, but it also gives Murdoch kind of that career-defining championship, which I think he really, I hate using the D word, but deserves. And I think having a guy like Ric Flair there, and I think having kind of a sold-out crowd, hot sold-out crowd, I think will help. And all I can say is hopefully they don't drag the show on too long so that they wear the crowd out so they can get that big reaction that they're probably going to be looking for. So I'm going with Murdoch winning the title, but either way, Ric Flair is going to be involved in the finish.
So I get labeled a Nick Aldis hater by a lot of people. And I would like to say that I thoroughly enjoyed Nick Aldis' first run as World's Heavyweight Champion. I would be remiss to tell you that I was not a big fan of his second run as World's Heavyweight Champion. And I feel like it's been getting worse and worse as he's been champion. And I don't feel that he's put his heart and soul as to being the World's Heavyweight Champion, the World Champion. And you could say, hey, in the past, Ric Flair has been in the ring with Trevor Murdoch. He has, he has crossed paths with him before, and maybe there could be some sort of double cross or whatever. But I think this is the time. I think this is the place. For every reason that Kevin said, they're going to be in St. Louis. That's his home. That's his hometown, so to speak. I know it's Waxahachie, Texas, on the bio. But he spent many years wrestling at Harley Race's World Legion Wrestling that had events right there in Missouri. He is the the quote unquote the prodigal son of Missouri. You know, he was Harley's chosen one. I mean, let's not forget that Trevor Murdoch is a former World Legion Wrestling World Champion, and that was when Harley was running the show. They did this match, and they keep drawing the comparisons of Harley Race to both Nick Aldis and Trevor Murdoch to make you feel like, hey, both of these guys represent parts of handsome Harley Race. But the fact of the matter is, Trevor Murdoch is Harley's guy. And to do this match in St. Louis at the Chase of all places, it just makes the most amount of sense. I think the other interesting part about this, the other dynamic that this creates, is not only does it give Trevor Murdoch an opportunity to be world's heavyweight champion on a somewhat national wrestling program, but it also changes radically the whole alignment of NWA Power. And since day one, we've looked at Nick Aldis as being the hunted, whether it be, you know, Tim Storm or sorry, I'm drawing blanks on names, Ricky Morton. You know, it was Flip Gordon, right? It was challenged by Marty Scurll. Every time it's someone coming to him with the challenge. Every time, every pay-per-view that's led up to this moment, it was somebody challenging Nick Aldis for the World's Heavyweight Championship. And when he finally loses that title, it totally realigns that gimmick, the character, the person. He's no longer the hunted, he becomes the hunter. And I think that gives a great dynamic and really freshens up the entire NWA when the big dog is no longer the big dog. So, as I take a step back here, I'm going to tell you right now that Trevor Murdoch will be your next NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, and he will win this Sunday at the Chase. And for every reason that DKM said he won't, he will. And for every reason that Kevin Frazier said he will, he will. I'm telling you right now, he does not leave St. Louis without that 10 pounds of gold in his arms. And you can take that to the bank.
I agree. I think it's the way. I think right now with what they've got is the right move. It's just the right move.
And don't get me wrong, guys. This isn't the match I wanted.
None of us.
I wanted Elijah Burke and Nick Aldis. That's the money match that I think they should have went with. That he was the guy that was, to me, the best positioned to take the belt off of Nick Aldis. But we're going to create some different chemistry, some different magic by putting that belt on Trevor Murdoch. You know, now Trevor Murdoch, you know, Nick Aldis isn't going to be right there getting a rematch at the next show. You're going to get guys like Tyrus and Trevor Murdoch. You're going to get Tom Latimer and Trevor Murdoch. And you're going to see a whole new side to the NWA when Nick Aldis is now at the bottom of the totem pole looking to get his way back up. And I think that's what's important about this is an opportunity for the NWA to kind of not really hit a reset button, but just change the dynamic greatly. And if that breaks up Strictly Business, that gives you opportunities for Latimer. If they keep Strictly Business together, maybe Latimer and Aldis will go after the tag titles. It just creates a different set of circumstances, and that's what I'm guessing. And that is our predictions for the 73rd. Do you guys have anything you want to add to my crazy bold prediction?
I wasn't listening to you.
No. I think we covered a lot, and I think I'm genuinely excited about it. I'm just being real. I mean, I'm genuinely excited about it. So I'm definitely excited about seeing what the women bring to the table at Empower, and you know, I'm excited to see Thomas Latimer, Tim Storm, and Crimson beat the crap out of each other. And bold prediction, I'm gonna make a bold prediction just to have fun. I think the 6-man tag is the second best match of the night.
That's pretty bold.
That is very bold.
Why not? I mean, come on. We know it's not going to be Aldis and Murdoch, so
it won't.
We know it's not going to be the national title match.
You're forgetting about Kylie Ray and Mickie James.
I'm thinking about that too, but I don't know if they can hit each other hard enough.
I don't know if Tyrus can be in the second best match of the night.
he look, if you got
there's 5 other guys out there to help.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the great thing about putting Tyrus with that television title. You can start hiding a lot of his limits by putting him in a title with that title. None of his matches have to go over 6 minutes. And then if you put him on a pay-per-view with 5 other guys, I mean, he could just sit out in the ring and talk crap the whole time.
Yeah, but one of them's the mask guy, who's also not overly impressive.
All right.
So you got 2 guys. I mean, if you keep Jordan Clearwater in the ring maybe 90% of the time and keep the other 2 out,
then
maybe you have a chance. But I don't see that happening, so...
Well, guys, we've been doing this for 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is a whole hour and 15 minutes longer than whatever we intend to do. So we're going to wrap it up here. I want to thank everyone for being a part of the show today. Again, thanks to guys like Terry McDermott, Wrestling with the MMA, Craig S., Doty, What Would Luthez Do, James H. Jackson, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some people. Our new friend, Certified Hustler. I'm sure there's some more people I'm forgetting, but you know who you are. We do appreciate you guys being here and being part of the show. That's what makes this fun. Again, we'll be back on Thursday next week, same time, same channel. DKM, if they want to follow you on social media for all your hot wrestling takes, where can they find those at?
Probably nowhere, but if you want to follow me on social media, at DKMFWTX on Twitter.
And the same for you, Kev. How can they follow you on all social media?
Kevin Lee Frazier, same spelling as on the screen. I hope Jay spelled it right. Kevin Lee Frazier on Instagram or on Twitter. And then if you want to catch some of my YouTube matches, you can go to Kevin Douglas 2002. And, here and there, every now and then I'll go and do an internet search and find even older matches. I actually found a match of when I used to wrestle in a mask when I broke my ankle in Haltom City, Texas skating rink. Was my first time as a singles champion. Y'all want to hear that story real quick? It's a nice little.
Let's save it for next time because we're way behind.
Okay, so I'll tell it to you. So I'm just kidding. No, but anyways, yeah, I'll if you can check out some of those matches there, you can Google Kevin Douglas Wrestling on YouTube.
And of course, I'm Jay Cal. You can follow me at the Alliance Blog on all social media: Tumblr, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course here on Twitch and on YouTube. That's going to do it for us, guys. If you would like to help support the show, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, follow, like, all that great stuff. If you would like to financially support this podcast, you could do so by purchasing a cool hat like this. Not this particular shirt, but shirts like this are also available at our merch store, and the links are in the description, so make sure you check that out. Until next time, enjoy the pay-per-views. If you guys are out there, make sure you're posting photos and tweeting about it. We would like to see it. But until next time, we will see you at the matches. If I actually had the thing queued up, this would be a lot cooler.